Hello there, John Siddique here. Welcome to my YouTube channel and my blog and wherever else I put this. But it's just really nice to be talking to you after quite a long time actually on video. I sometimes kind of drift off. I say I'm going to kind of do lots of videos and then kind of go off into other things. Really, I'm just kind of getting on with life and my own practice and things, and then I kind of lose the habit of making videos. But I had a conversation with a friend yesterday, and I just thought it would be a really interesting thing to share with you. There's so much change since I last did one of these videos, but I'll tell you a bit more about that maybe after I've spoken about this. I was telling my friend yesterday about my lunch that I had yesterday, and within this lunch I kind of had a vision, if that's possible. I was kind of looking at my plate, which was sitting in front of me, and I think the world is kind of completely the wrong way around, and well, it's not just I think it, I know it. The world is completely the wrong way around, and we're not taught to kind of live from life itself. We're taught to kind of create a life rather than kind of living from the innate life that's inside us, and then kind of doing that work afterwards when we realise that work has to be done. Is very, very difficult and takes lifetimes, perhaps millions of years even, or something. But anyway, I was looking at my plate, and I'd grown the salad that was on this plate. The broad beans had been given to me by my friend Mike, as had the potatoes. What else was on the plate? The courgette that I'd zoodled using a spiralizer had been given to me by my neighbour who had grown it on her allotment. And it just seemed to me that this is the way forward. This is how we need to do things to get out of the kind of the crazy economic times that we're in, to kind of just love ourselves by being in community, And I actually said out loud to my partner Abba, no billionaire could buy this meal. You just could not buy food of this quality anywhere else. Everything had been picked this morning, or just like minutes before, in terms of the salad, and you could go to any restaurant anywhere and put any amount of money on the table, and it would not buy you this food. It was quite an incredible sort of thing. And then, well, actually, we live like this most days here. I bake my own bread because I still eat some bread. And I grow salad, although the salad season is kind of ending. I've got no land of my own, but everything is grown in pots and baskets. But I have friends who have allotments and little bits of land and things like that, and we kind of, this time of year everything's kind of flowering, and just things keep coming every day. And maybe the way forward for us, I'm not saying it's an answer, but maybe the way forward for us is to start thinking about how we can cooperate, not as a kind of middle class nice idea and little hobby sort of thing, but actually take this stuff quite seriously again as a way to live. And yet this meal on the plate, well, okay, I paid for the compost that was in the pots, as had all my friends had kind of paid for their horse poo and so on that had gone in the thing, and yes, you buy the seeds. So, there is a kind of financial side to being able to do that, and then there's having to kind of learn how to do it and so on, and that's just trial and error. But I think anybody who grows some salad. But in a way, it didn't feel like it cost anything at all, and yet it felt absolutely priceless. It's quite a sunny day as well, and just to sit having this meal. So that's it. I just had a vision of a new world kind of on my old plate, and I thought I'd just kind of tell you about that, really. Yeah, so I hope things are really, really well with you. Things have been going fantastically here. Life has changed dramatically, as you know, from if you've watched any earlier of these blogs. I was very poorly at Christmas, and then I was kind of even before that, I was thinking about doing things in a very new way, of kind of letting a lot of my work go and starting to kind of try to talk to people about meditation and so on. And then the kind of the illness at Christmas really kind of said to me, you know, come home and get on with what you really meant to be doing in your life. Because either life is short and you might as well get on with it, or life is long and you might as well really get on with it, you know. So I've set up a meditation class here in Hebden Bridge, and that's going stupendously well. We have a nice kind of number of people coming to that every week, and that's going to run until sort of just before Christmas time, when I head off for a couple of months and then sort of pick back up in the springtime again. I'm thinking that I should maybe set something up in the city in Manchester on another night of the week, so we have kind of two things going. So I might kind of look to create a course or a class there, just kind of just meditation, just basic meditation. But what I mean by meditation is actually knowing the life that's yours, the innate life that's yours, and meditation is the best tool to kind of do that. And I know that we think we know our lives, but we identify through our identities and through our work and so on. And this is what I mean about everything being the wrong way around. Life is actually what we are, and we don't have to kind of make a life. We kind of, if we come from that core of life, the rest of stuff we can still work and still have our children and love our partners and so on, and read books and, you know, plant things in the garden and what have you. But let's start from where or who we really are. And so when I talk about authentic living and when I talk about meditation, this is really what I'm talking about living from that true place in yourself. There's an authentic living weekend retreat coming up here in Hebden Bridge on the 12th and 13th of September. And before that, I'm off down to Canterbury to the Wise Words Festival to do a little kind of meditation stuff down there. And I've got a surprise coming up that I will tell you about very soon. I'm not allowed to talk about it yet. But yeah, the retreat on the 12th and 13th of September allows us to go kind of much further beyond the meditation stuff, because obviously in a meditation class we're focusing on that, but the stuff that holds us back, the old emotional patterns, not really participating in self-care for ourselves and stuff like that, some sort of just basic creative techniques to kind of, you know, allow us to reflect each day. We can kind of get into that stuff a lot more on a retreat. And in fact, I've actually been working with some people sort of one-to-one as well, sort of like a kind of, I don't like the word spiritual, but kind of spiritual counselling, for want of a better word. So if you want to know about any of these things, if you just have a look on the website, authenticliving.life, it's all kind of on there if you want to know about stuff. And so that's it. My everything has changed completely. I've gone from being kind of somebody who had to think about things all the time and spent all this time either, if not being out teaching people about creative writing, I was planning teaching creative writing sessions or looking at people's PhDs and essays and things like that. And while that is good old work, it ain't mine anymore, and I don't think it ever was really, even though it's quite interesting, isn't it? You can be very, very good at something, and yet it's not really you. And so allowing ourselves to actually come back to that truth of who we are, and then maybe even having the courage to start again from a kind of a present place, an eternal place. Maybe that's got something in it. That's it really, I think. Yeah, a little short one just to kind of get us back together, and I'll try and do a few more over the next week. I've just posted, we filmed half the meditation class the other night, so I've just posted that on onto YouTube, and so if you'd like to kind of take part in half a class to kind of get the vibes, because not everybody can get to Hebden Bridge, of course, even though it is one of the centres of the universe, to kind of take part in things. So I've been looking at ways of putting classes out, I was looking at live streaming and thinking about how we can do that. And there's some technical issues, and the fact that at this point in time, Authentic Living is just me talking to people. I've got nobody to operate cameras or do marketing or anything like that. So it's a bit of a kind of one-man show at the moment, which is no problem at all. I love the very simple life that I'm making, and I'm not making, but that is just actually an adventure each day of kind of, what is this? How is it going? And I've just been like this, just 10 minutes before I started this, I've been writing a little package for social workers about self-care and meditation and kind of wholeness, because self-care is missing so much in the caring professions. We move from a place of you know, we have the motivation and the will and the desire to help, but then we don't take care of ourselves enough, and we don't begin from that true place in ourselves. So we actually meet people with our stuff rather than with our truth, and so we don't see them for who they are. So I think this is work that's very, very essential at the moment. Another area like this that I would like to do, and this is, I guess, because of my own sort of background, but also because of the way the world is at the minute, is I'd very much like to kind of set up some online meditation group or authentic living sort of practice for people of colour, just with the way that the world is going at the moment. So anybody who's ever sort of suffered racism or been called a dirty migrant or anything like that, the effect that has, the murder of the spirit to live under a that invisible pressure, or the visible pressure actually, because it's become much more visible these days. In fact, I don't know if it has been much more visible. I grew up being chased by skinheads and fearing for my life a lot of the time. So, you know, as well as kind of like the governmental bullshit and, you know, division and hatred that they try to spout to kind of feed their own ego, to give them a sense of power. And I know it comes out of ignorance. And actually I forgive ignorance, but what I'm less forgiving about is the will to remain ignorant and separate, and to not kind of take part in life. You can't make anybody do anything. There's a lovely phrase by the folk singer Roy Harper: you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You can lead a man to slaughter, but you cannot make him think. And so instead of getting caught up with the paradigm of the battle, you know, and trying to fight back, I think for anybody who's been marginalised, anybody who's been kind of back-footed under this kind of pressure, you know, throughout their lives, and used in this way, we need to kind of almost like pull out of the battle. Yes, we need to obviously socially make a stand about things, but that needs to come from a true place. And first of all, we need to just be at home and in life and in ourselves. So I think I'm looking at how I might kind of do something with that. I mean, it's probably something as simple as just setting up a web page and saying, here we go now, and putting some videos out there and just being open. And I know it will get a lot of flack. I know it will. So I'll just turn the comments off if I do anything like that, because, you know, it's a crazy world out there full of people who want to remain in their ignorance. So we have to remember that underneath all that is even that will to ignorance is a very mistaken idea of trying to reach some kind of freedom. You know, it's absolutely insane, of course. You know, if everybody else would die, then I can be free and express myself fully. Or, you know, if only I had all the money in the world, then I can be free. You know, and of course, here's freedom right now by just being the flowering of life that you are. So I'm going to love you and leave you at 15 minutes. I do this every video. I say, that's it, I've stopped now, and then I carry on going because I think of something else. So I'm stopping now. Okay, so lots of love to you. I hope you have a brilliant, brilliant day. If you feel like checking out the meditation video, if you feel like looking on the Authentic Living website, please do. If you feel like helping out in some way, then please do. And bless you very much, and take care. See you soon.